Amoka's day always began before the sun had fully stretched across the sky. By 7 a.m., she was already seated in her small zinc shop, a tiny, rusty kiosk squeezed between two wooden stalls, braiding hair for women in the community. Her hands moved fast, firm, and practiced. From 7 to 10 a.m., she transformed rough, tangled hair into neat, beautiful cornrows, Ghana weaves, and twists. Everyone called her the girl with magic fingers. But despite the beauty she created for others, Amoka herself was always unkempt. Her curly hair was permanently packed into one rough bun, and she still wore the same faded black slippers that had thinned out from years of use. Once the clock struck 11, she would close her hair salon and rush off to her cleaning job. By afternoon, she became a house cleaner, scrubbing floors, washing toilets, doing laundry, dusting shelves, moving from home to home with silent determination. She barely ate, surviving on whatever gari and groundnut she could afford. She worked like someone who owed life a heavy debt. And when the evening rolled in and most people were settling down to rest, Amoka changed again. She hurried into a small company where she worked as a part-time sales girl. Her shift often lasted until 9 p.m., and just when one would expect her to go home and sleep, Amoka would instead pick up her broom and sweep the estate streets. At midnight, she was the lone figure moving from corner to corner, sweeping under the dim orange glow of the streetlights. People began calling her Jack of all trades. But Amaka was never working to impress herself. At only 22 years old, she had already lived a life far older than her age. Her father had died early, leaving behind Amoka, her mother, and 3 younger sisters. With no male child in the home, everyone looked to Amoka. She had barely completed secondary school before life pushed her into the world of work. Every kobo she made, she sent home. Whenever she got paid, she would say, "Let me just send it to my mommy. She knows how to manage it for my sisters." Amoka never shopped for herself. She never bought new sandals. She never replaced her old clothes. She looked older, worn out, drained, yet she remained beautiful in a quiet, enduring way. She had no savings, no relationship, no personal joy. Every man who approached her, whether rich or poor, she gently pushed away. She believed falling in love would distract her from caring for her family. Her 3 sisters eventually gained admission into university, not because they worked hard, but because Amoka killed herself working all sorts of jobs to give them the life she didn't have. Yet those same sisters became wayward, living lavishly, partying every weekend, demanding money for trendy clothes, wigs, makeup, and outings. Whenever Amoka couldn't send enough, they called her names, "Wicked sister. You don't want the best for us. Are we not your sisters?" Those words cut deep, but Amoka would swallow her pain and still find a way to support them. She became their money-making machine. Years rolled by. Her youth faded in the sun, in dust, in markets, in other people's homes, in night sweeps, in sacrifice. Amoka clocked 50 before she realized her entire life had slipped through her fingers. No man came her way anymore. People whispered, "Amoka done old finish." Even her employer once advised her to slow down and build her own life. But Amoka ignored everyone. She believed her family needed her more than she needed herself. Yet while she sacrificed everything, her sisters, now adults, were living recklessly. And one after another, they fell into trouble. First one, then the next, then the last, each of them returned home with unwanted pregnancies. When Amoka's mother heard the news, she collapsed from shock. Amoka rushed her to the hospital, but days later, her mother passed away. Losing her broke something inside Amoka. She had given everything, her childhood, her youth, her womanhood, her joy, only for life to crumble in her hands. After burying her mother, she returned home to face the reality of her pregnant, unprepared sisters. She didn't insult them. She didn't push them away. Instead, Beaten and exhausted, she picked up her bucket and broom and began doing manual labor again to support them. But something changed in her. Some evenings, after her work, she would gather young girls in the estate and share her story. She told them not to lose themselves while trying to save everyone else. She warned them never to surrender their future just because they loved someone. The girls listened in silence, pity filling their eyes as Amoka's voice cracked and her tears fell. She became a living lesson, one whose pain taught others not to repeat her mistakes. Amaka had worked all her life to make others comfortable, forgetting that she, too, deserved peace, love, rest, and a life of her own.